Hello and welcome to a conversation with Susan Gerbic. This video is part of my interview series with science communicators and skeptical activists for my Skeptical Inquirer online column. Today, my guest is Susan Gerbic, who, among other things, is apparently a disinformation agent for the U.S. government cover-up of decades-long ongoing alien visitations of Earth. Welcome, Susan.
Oh my gosh, Rob, I can't believe we're going to have this conversation.
So let me tell the viewers why I'm doing this. So not infrequently, I'll read or watch something online. I'll see a news report about something that I happen to know firsthand experience is just flat wrong. They'll be talking about space, and I'm an aerospace engineer, and they're talking about the wrong kind of rocket going to the moon or something like that. I have friends who are aficionados of cars, and they always say, oh, I don't know what they're talking about, or the gun fans who they'll just switch out talking about a certain kind of gun. And if you don't know what you're watching and you don't know that subject, you just believe what you're reading or seeing the news reporter do. But if you happen to know the subject, it makes you think about what else are they saying that I don't know about that is also wrong, but I don't know is wrong, right? So
Totally agree.
it's very frustrating when that happens. And it happened a few weeks ago, and it got my blood absolutely boiling. On March 9th, Paranormal News, which is a website, I don't know if they published anything in print, but it's a website. It posted an article titled George Knapp's Bio on Wikipedia, a Guerrilla Skeptic Assault. So this article was on the subject of an organized UFO cover-up, and it made claims that I knew were firsthand information, just absolutely wrong, and it stated them as if they were proven facts. I felt obliged to do a rebuttal. I was just going to write a text-based article. And then I said, why shouldn't I invite somebody who was in the middle of all this, Susan Gerbic, right? The creator and organizer and the person who runs the Guerrilla Skeptic in the aforementioned title group. And she knows all about this firsthand also. So welcome, Susan. We're going to be talking about this.
All right. Should I get my tinfoil hat out?
However, I won't disparage any attire you want to put on. No, to everyone watching this, we're going to be following what is called Hitchens' razor. So if you're not familiar with that, that was Christopher Hitchens' statement. Anything that can be claimed without evidence can be dismissed without evidence. We're not going to be providing evidence for our rebuttals here, but we are going to tell you what we understand to be the truth, right? UFO proponents are going to come across and say, well, if Rob and Susan didn't prove we were wrong, then we must be right. That's a logical fallacy called shifting the burden of proof, right? If you make an argument, a claim about something, like was done in this article, then you are required to provide the proof before anyone should believe you. But unfortunately, as I said, people will just believe what they see in print or hear people talking about. So we're going to try to push back a little bit on that. So, Susan, I have the article open in front of me. You have a copy there on your computer, right?
Yes, I do.
So let's start with the title. George Knapp's Bio on Wikipedia, a Guerrilla Skeptic Assault. So, wow. I mean, why do you suppose this entire article is concentrating on your group instead of just say generally all of Wikipedia editors?
Well, it's interesting because when you were talking about how you wanted to write a rebuttal to this, and I said, well, it's easy. You just put up a blank piece of paper at the very top, you write, no, they didn't, prove it.
Right.
Publish, and you're done. Right. And that's it, because there's zero evidence of any kind in here. And the first statement, even as you say, the title, that's a bunch of nonsense. We didn't assault anything, and there's no evidence that we've been on George Knapp's biography, which I can say we have never been on George Knapp's biography ever, never. He's not somebody of interest to us. I'm not even 100% sure who he is. And nobody's interested in that. We're working on all sorts of other stuff. There's thousands of pages out there that need work. And George Knapp has never, ever, same with Rupert Sheldrake and those
yes,
people
I was going to say, so lately,
we've never touched them.
Lately, this has been a claim made by UFO believers and proponents, but it's not a new thing, right? So your group, our group, I'm a part of it, has been attacked by believers of all sorts of things for as long as I know. And you started it, I think it's 8 years before I joined it, right? So you mentioned one of them.
Yeah.
Rupert Sheldrake claimed that
Right.
we attacked his bio, and nobody from our group had done that.
Mm-mm.
Right. And it's interesting though, because the Guerrilla Skeptic, um, the idea that there is a group like that is out there enough because it's not secret. You talk about it. You've done presentations. I've done presentations. I've done presentations live at SciCon. I've done
Mm-hmm.
it for other groups. You write papers about it. I've written
Mm-hmm.
papers about it. Other people have written, and they can't, wow, look what we found out about the secret cabal that is doing these things.
We call ourselves the secret cabal. It's a joke, people. We call ourselves that because you guys started calling us these, these kinds of conspiracies. I remember these people don't seem to have a sense of humor. Everything is a conspiracy. It explains everything that they do not understand. Is it a conspiracy? But I can remember this is 2013, whenever the Rupert Sheldrake, we've attacked his Wikipedia page nonsense came out. And then I remember other people were like, oh, we're after remote viewing. We've been attacking the zodiac sign. I think they picked like Libra or something, that we've been editing the Libra Wikipedia page for. I'm thinking, no, I'm looking at my list of things we've done. I'm going, no, we haven't touched that. It might seem like it to these people because they try to make an edit on Wikipedia. Everything I see them do is just ridiculous editing. It's not well done. And so that it gets reverted. And they immediately think there must be a conspiracy because they've been taught that anybody can edit Wikipedia. Well, almost anybody can. Doesn't mean the edit's going to remain. But so we've been attacked for, put it this way, Rob. There's nothing that we haven't touched in their minds.
Yeah, that
So
seems
I
to be
mean,
true.
I don't, there's nothing more we can do. I mean, I can't disprove something that isn't have any proof for it, as you said. And the thing about it is there's no reason we can't edit those. My team are well-trained Wikipedia editors. They're senior editors in most cases. They've had long histories of editing Wikipedia correctly. And so we can edit those pages. It's just like anybody else who has an established reputation, who has skills and knows how to do it. There's no reason why we can't do it. It's just that we have it in these cases, and because we're just not interested in it, or it just hasn't come across our path. There's, like I said, there's thousands of pages to edit.
Yeah, I once did the calculation of what the percent of editors on Wikipedia are your team. It's like it's laughable. Um, so part of the thing here is I guess it's a two-pronged problem. First off, they don't like the rules of Wikipedia, and that'll come out as we go through this article,
If
right?
they even know the rules,
Right. One of the
right?
claims, and I don't remember if it's in this article, we'll get to it if it is or it was elsewhere, but that the Guerrilla Skeptics made the rules on Wikipedia, right? That we were there at the outset of Wikipedia and made these rules, and therefore that's how we can,
Time travel.
manipulate things. Well, all right.
I'm not that clever. Sorry, guys. Thank you for making me sound
All
like
right.
a supreme leader or something, but no,
When
I'm
did
not.
Wikipedia, for the record there, when did Wikipedia start? It was like 2000,
January 2021. I mean 2001, I believe.
2001. Yeah, it was over 20 years ago. And when did the Guerrilla Skeptics get formed?
I think I made my first edit in 2008 and was almost banned because I didn't know what the heck I was doing for a very long time. And then over time, people started saying, hey, let's try to figure this out. And we went through it and tried to figure it out. And it took a long time, and I developed training.
And
And the
beside,
training,
By the time you got an actual team in place, when was it? 2010 or something like that?
2010 maybe. But
Yeah.
yeah, I created training because
Yeah.
there is no training on Wikipedia. So I don't understand how anybody can edit Wikipedia that isn't like a coder already and already understand how
Yeah, I got to hand it to
all that
them.
works.
So
It's
anyway,
crazy.
there we disputed the entire claim that Guerrilla Skeptics controlled all of
Nobody's going to believe
Wikipedia,
us.
wrote all of the rules,
Of
and
course, I would just say that.
yeah, right.
I
All
mean,
right. So this article goes through. I'll read a little bit of it here.
and it's not an assault when you take off vandalism.
Right, right.
So
So
sorry,
the author, who's Craig Wheeler, I think that's how you say his name.
Weiler.
Right. He says he was
Wheeler?
alerted to this assault by a woman who preferred to remain anonymous. That's fine. But in order to keep her from the crosshairs of skeptical retribution for her work on Wikipedia. What does that mean?
I think she was banned. Isn't it the woman who was on Coast to Coast? Um,
I don't know.
I think she's the woman that was on Coast to Coast. They had recently, you guys, if you want to waste an hour or two, you can go. Well, I guess you have to have a subscription or something. I don't know, but you could probably find the Coast to Coast interview where they had this Rob Heavenly or whatever on, and they had this woman on, and she sounded like somebody who hasn't a clue what she's doing on Wikipedia, went in to change somebody's birthday or something. And was it George Knapp? Is that who he
That's what this
is?
is about. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, okay. So she tried to change his birthday and stuff. And I think she went in and used a whole bunch of flattering words like pluff words we would call puffery or peacock words that are obviously meant to, adjectives meant to make the person sound better than they are.
Right. And
She
that's actually a
did that.
thing that rules against that in
That is a
Wikipedia.
rule. Yeah, you're not allowed to do that. Yeah, so this woman, she came out. I don't know if she said her name or not on Coast to Coast. I wasn't paying that close attention, or maybe they used her first name, but she's not a Wikipedia editor that's like has a edit history. Every edit on Wikipedia is public, people. Everything. It goes down to the second the edit was made. So we could find out who she is if we cared. But she's just one of another series of trolls that come in. I think she was banned. So I don't know what Craig is talking about us having retribution on this woman.
He made another statement he's talking about that after he was told about this, he looked at the edits and he says, from there, the Wikipedia entries speak for themselves. Do entries ever speak for themselves? I mean, one has to understand what one is looking at, right?
Yeah,
But
you would have to.
but he's like, he made that statement, they speak for themselves. So then he goes on to about all of the great things that George Knapp has done, all these awards and whatever. And I've been told by reliable sources that he has this many Emmys and yada, yada, yada. So, okay, fine. But then he says, because of his interest, George Knapp's, in UAPs and paranormal phenomena, Wikipedia editors produced a biography that is subtly slanted to make Knapp look a bit unhinged. I immediately recognized this particular style. The bias was the work of the guerrilla skeptics of Wikipedia.
Yeah. Somebody, it must be us.
Must be us.
It must be.
Not any of the tens of thousands of other editors who follow the rules of Wikipedia and realize when someone is doing something inappropriate.
Right.
And it goes on. This is yet another story. I don't know what the other ones he's talking about, of their weird beliefs combined
Our
with
weird beliefs?
our weird beliefs combined with administrative control on Wikipedia. So do we have any administrators on Wikipedia in our group? Not to my knowledge, do we?
Not in English. Not in English Wikipedia. Now, this again, it's provable. If you knew who the Wikipedia editors are on my team, which there are only a very few that have outed themselves because we don't want to be hassled. I don't want my team hassled. I, Susan Gerbic, edit on Wikipedia as S. Gerbic. You can see my edits. I'm as transparent as possible. I don't know why they can't figure that out, but you would think I, being the leader of the group, would be heavily involved in admin talks and things like that. Okay, people, you can go to Wikipedia. You can click on my username. You can look at my statistics. It tells you how many edits I have spent on content, like, working on content, or in my own private user space where I used to build edits, edit a page in my own space before I make it live. How much I spend on talk pages, having discussions with other editors, and how much time I spent with discussing admin things. And the percentage I spent on admin things is like tiny, teeny, like a little tiny stuff. I don't have anything to do with the admin world unless somebody's actually addressing a question to me.
Right.
I have very little time on talk pages. And that's how the whole team is. Our team
I want to be
is
clear to people
admin.
who aren't knowledgeable about the whole Wikipedia infrastructure, right? Most people are your standard editors. They have a user account and they can do things. And there's a tiny, tiny subset of people who are editors with a long-standing history, and they can run to be an administrator, right?
Right.
And there's voting for that. And our team does not do any of that.
No.
Right.
I'm not going to do that. That's ridiculous.
That's totally contrary to, we absolutely have administrative control of Wikipedia. It's a bizarre statement.
Yeah,
I want to
it's
go into the
ridiculous.
next statement that got my blood boiling. From the article, it says the parent organization for the Guerrilla Skeptics on Wikipedia is the Center for Inquiry. So, is there any connection between them? Does the Center for Inquiry run you, pay you regarding this outfit? Did they tell you to create this outfit? Did they tell you what to do?
They wish. This is my organization. Why, how dare they give credit to somebody else? I mean, my gosh, if you saw how much work I have to do to run this thing,
And you came
I
up with
didn't know I
this.
could hand it off to
So you
somebody.
are, to be clear, you are a fellow of the Center for Inquiry, but that's fairly recently,
But look,
right? And that's because of that's because they appreciate your work in the skeptical world. It's not the reverse that you were a fellow and they said, "Hey, Susan, go create this so we can manipulate Wikipedia."
absolutely not. How insulting. And you know, the thing about it is that I've had other people, and some of these people on Twitter and so on, they get all upset because they find this piece of information. They absolutely do not know how to research. Oh my gosh, these people would never be able to work for GSoW in any way or form. They just, it's like they find a piece of string here and they find another piece of string on the other side of the room and they say they must connect.
It's connect the dots.
You know, they can be
That
totally
is the thing.
different balls of string, but they keep pulling up this trope that, oh my gosh, Susan Gerbic is a fellow and she wrote a Wikipedia page for another fellow. Okay, there's no rule against that, by the way. But I was only made a fellow in like 2018. And if you go back and look at the Wikipedia page that I wrote was like in 2012.
Again, you're
like
keeping another secret from the population time travel, Susan. You have that machine somewhere. All right.
Okay.
So now goes on. The article goes on. It's important to understand just what the Guerrilla Skeptics and CFI perhaps, I don't know who they mean by their specific beliefs are in order to understand how they're affecting Wikipedia. They believe in what's known as atheistic materialism.
That's going back to that. That's definitely Craig Wheeler. The 2013 drama that was going on. Oh my gosh, you guys, it was like this, but not quite as bad because social media wasn't quite as, I don't even know if we had Twitter in 2013, but or Reddit. But these words they use, would it say that phrase again?
And there's a little more. Let me go on after that.
Okay.
They believe in what's known as atheistic materialism. This is the belief, according to the article, and I would not agree with this. This is the belief that there is no soul and that the material world is all that exists. In practice, this means they categorically reject all things paranormal, UAPs, holistic medicine, and cryptids. That's a weird mix of things. What does the soul have to do with whether extraterrestrials are visiting us? I want to know. Or whether holistic medicine works, or whether there is a Bigfoot.
There's a lot of string here. I'm telling you. I mean, they've walked into a bunch of string laying on the ground, and they're trying to put it up on the wall with chewing gum and tape. I'm telling you, and those little thumbtack things.
Categorically reject means to me, even if I found evidence of it, I would ignore it because I have a preconceived notion that it does not exist.
No, I don't. I mean, I think it would take seeing somebody's arm grow back, like somebody I knew whose arm was gone.
Which one are we talking about? The holistic medicine?
Any of them. And I could see it like growing back, like right now, like then of course I would probably think there was something wrong with me, or I was looking at an illusion like a magician or something. But I think it would take something like that before I would probably.
But basically, it would mean good evidence, right?
It'd have to be amazing evidence.
If a UAP, let's stick with the UAP since that's really what they're
UFOs, you mean?
Right. Well, he wrote UAPs.
Whatever.
If a flying saucer,
putting lipstick on a pig,
shaped object landed in the lawn of the White House, and all the news media were covering it, I don't think we'd still say, yeah, no, that's not true, because that's what this is saying.
Of course not.
Categorically reject all things.
Right. We'd be like, beam me up. Let's go.
Right. Also, CSI, the Committee of Skeptical Inquiry, has what's the number up to now? $500,000, Susan? A paranormal challenge, right? They don't reject things paranormal, they test
Oh
them.
no.
They would love
Yeah,
to
yeah.
find out these things are real.
Oh, I would, oh my gosh.
My God.
Let's get started. If we can prove this, I have a
The
list of things I
scientist who
want done.
finds
Let's
out
go.
the
I would not
scientist
be
who
sitting
finds
here at
out
my
this kind
house.
of stuff would win the Nobel Prize. I mean, oh
Oh,
no,
beyond that.
that's it.
Beyond that. Today I got a message from a young man who said if I would look into the claims of some person I've never heard of before who says that they've gotten really good evidence of life after death and mediumship. And I said, hold on a second, let me go check the headlines. And I did. I went and looked and I said, oh, I came back and I said, no, it's Gaza, Trump, Biden, on and on and on. Nothing in here about any evidence. And no, what has she got? And he says, oh, well, the medium got her cat's name right. And the medium said that her dad's first name was this. And I'm like, okay, well, that's like everybody. Oh, that dad read a lot
That's
and
rare.
stuff like that. And I thought, is there something wrong that, I don't get it because my level of needing evidence is up here. And to a lot of people, it's way down here.
That's the biggest difference. I mean, I know people who believe these things are stupid or whatever. And no, I reject that. The thing is that, as you just said, what they would accept as good evidence for any claim
Mhm.
is very different
Right.
from
Yeah,
people
it's not
who are
intelligence, you
skepticism.
guys. It
Yeah.
usually it is willful ignorance. I mean, the information's out there. They could look this up and understand it if they wanted to, become educated on it. They don't, for whatever reason.
And part of the other reason there is, other than I know people who believe these things personally, it's my one phrase for it is the Fox Mulder poster in the X-Files. I want to believe.
I need to
Right.
believe in a lot of
Right.
cases.
I need to believe in I want to believe. So they don't want to consider contrary information that is going
Right.
to make them not believe it because they don't want to do that.
Well, also, a lot of these people were raised this way. This is their culture. I mean, if you believe in life after death in a lot of religious practices, then mediumship and demons and all this other stuff, that's of course it's real. That's what it says in the Bible, angels and so on, and other cultures too. They have all sorts of these kinds of mythos. And so that's how they're raised. Everybody around them believes in Bigfoot. Everyone around them believes in UFOs. I mean, of course, ghosts
Right. Of
exist.
course it has to be real because all
Grandma's
my
right
friends
over
know
there
it's real.
sitting in the chair still. She's never
And
left.
and and these days, unlike 20 years ago, you can Google something like that. And especially if you've looked at the positive aspects of it before, that's what Google will return to you. It'll give confirming evidence that these things are real. Why is it not? It's not. Look at Google returned it. There's a million people who see UFOs all the time.
Well, Rob, to be honest with you, they just came out with a congressional report, the AARO, is that them? AARO, this
Yeah,
report that just
arrow.
came out just like a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you guys, they looked at the history of UFOs and UAPs and all that, going back to Roswell and moving forward and looked at everything in detail, spent millions of our taxpayer dollars, by the way. And they came out with a report and said, yeah, it's the same guys that are just been telling these stories for years and there's nothing to it and that's it. So, let's put a little line in the sand here. Everything prior to 2024 off the plate. It's been explained
And of
or
course,
not explained.
your experience is that you've seen everyone now change their minds who believe these things.
Right, absolutely not. You know that. And that's the thing, they keep wanting to go back and argue these old cases because they can't, it's like I don't know, it's like a something in their brain that's just not allowing them
So,
to
yeah,
end it and say, okay, oh, well, good, we got that. No, no, they go back and disparage the people who made the reports and they
right.
looking into every little piece of string they can find again.
So
It's
here's a
like
big
it's
question.
done. Put a
Have you
fork in it. It's done, you
have you
guys.
encountered this, Susan? When I was young, I believed in these things. When I was a teenager, I was big into the UFO conspiracies and whatever. And then, long story why I changed my mind. I'm not going to go into it, but I basically started to consider the actual evidence that there was no evidence there. There's no there there. But the thing is that these people, will believe it no matter what the government says because they believe the government is lying. So my question is to anyone out there who's watching this on the other side, why is the government lying? Right? I used to
Well, the
hear,
government
oh,
does lie.
there'll be, why is it lying about this? Right? Because there would be panic in the streets if people understood that there were
That's what I was
aliens.
always told. Yeah.
Half of the people believe there are aliens now and believe
So
the
it'd be no
government
big
is lying.
deal.
Right,
There's no
right.
reason. They can't come up with a reason. And it changes. The goalposts move. It's look, people, no.
After he talks about us having this atheistic materialism.
Oh,
The Guerrilla Skeptics have been on Wikipedia practically since its inception, which we show is
no,
wrong, right? So
no. You can look at our accounts, see when we started.
they have enough administrative control to enforce their beliefs, and no one can do a thing about it.
No, 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 no.
No.
We don't have administration control. We're just editors like anybody else. But we do have editors that are well trained, have a long history of editing Wikipedia correctly. And so at a certain point, you do gain a little bit of respect from the other editors who also are well trained. Some of them happen to be administrators. It's not rocket science here, guys. Come on.
All right. So the article goes on to talk about in December 2023, an editor, Duncan GT, made an
What do I
edit.
know?
And then this alerted GSoW editor Lucky Louie to do something about it.
No,
Is Lucky Louie a GSoW editor
no, Lucky
for the record?
Louie and JoJo and all those others they keep saying are Wikipedia editors or not. But you know what? I really don't want to talk about who is and who isn't because then somebody's going to say somebody who is, and I'm going to say, oh, I can't talk about that one. No, but
So that one I knew is not because, like,
Lucky
we know in
Louie
the
is
cabal,
not.
we
I don't
generally
know who
talk
he
to each
is.
other. We
I
know who
assume he's
people
a
are.
he.
Right.
I don't know.
We've argued on Wikipedia and edits. I think I've argued with Lucky Louie about a particular thing. I would know if he was in the group and like no.
Well,
Now the
and you
next
can
line,
look.
the
You
next
can
line,
look.
the next
His,
line is even more amazing. Well,
wait. His edits predate us. He's
oh,
been around longer than I have
I did
on
not know
Wikipedia.
that.
You could look
Interesting.
at that.
Okay.
And GSoW editors create content. That's what we spend an enormous amount of time is fixing, repairing, rewriting, creating brand new pages, creating content. Lucky Louie and these other people that keep accusing spend almost zero time creating content. They go around and they do like fussy things like on administration and revert changes and they rewrite stuff. It's the whole style of editing is completely alien, haha, to compared to a regular GSoW editor. We walk away from these conversations instead of getting up on the hill to die on.
So I
As you
want to
know,
ask you about the next part of that same sentence. I stopped at Lucky Louie. This alerted GSoW editor Lucky Louie, who is strongly suspected to be UFO debunker Mick West by researcher Rob Heatherly.
that is
What?
crazy stuff. I mean, my goodness, why would you say that Mick West is spending enormous amounts of time on Wikipedia? Don't you understand he's busy doing other things? There's zero evidence for that. This
If
guy
Mick
is just
West,
living in a fantasy. It is so bizarre that anybody would think that, it's possible to be two different people and they're both doing a lot of content on totally different platforms and they're really, really busy people. I mean, have we even seen Lucky Louie ever write anything in British English?
not,
Have we?
I don't
No.
know.
You would think
I
that
don't
would
follow
be
George.
obvious if he
The
did.
th-
If he starts adding U's to a lot of
right.
words.
The thing that's amazing to me about this statement is
So silly.
I know Mick West personally. I've interviewed him
Mhm.
for this column. You'd think he'd mention, "Hey, I'm in the Guerrilla Skeptics group." No, that has never come up. And when I've talked about Guerrilla Skeptics, he's got a blank look. It's like he doesn't know anything about it. So
Well, he does. He knows where we
He's
are.
either an Oscar-worthy actor or this Rob Heatherly has made a bad mistake here.
And Rob is gonna Heatherly is his name.
Yes, Rob. Yeah,
He
it
is
says Rob Heatherly.
absolutely gonna double, triple, and down on this because this is his thing. He thinks he's got on this conspiracy of Mick West. They've latched onto this. They keep repeating and retweeting and or rezeeting or whatever it is called now, each other, and there's no.
Yeah,
Even if he
and he was a,
was, it wouldn't matter. But it is he's an inactive editor who's doing nothing, so he needs to get get to it.
as you said, Mick West has other things to do and actually
He's
doing
super busy, you
analysis of these
guys.
things.
You could compare, you could go and look at Lucky Louie's edits, and you could see if they correspond to the same time that you would
Right.
think Mick West is like on a live video. If you see Mick West on a live video and you see Lucky Louie's also making edits at that exact same time, remember everything is public. Then maybe that would kind of say, no, I don't think it's him.
Mm,
But I'm sure Mick is just fooling everybody by
yeah.
making the edits at the same time with some sort of computer software or something at the same time he's on the
Ah,
video.
he was a video game programmer, so
I'm
yeah.
sure that must be what's going on. But I mean, it's easy to disprove. That's the thing that gets me. All of this is easy to disprove if they wanted to go and look at the evidence.
All right. So the article goes on to talk about the back and forth that happened on George Knapp's bio, and
With some other
basically,
editor. Yeah, okay.
yeah, basically saying, highly relevant information was put on, and then it was taken off, and again, importantly, he said there is no reason for these changes other than spite. So what might be some other reasons without having looked into it directly?
Well, I think I looked at this now that I think about it. I did look at this back when the Coast to Coast thing came out. They were using puffery words. I don't remember what they were, but I think they were. We try to remove all that. We don't want any puffery unless we're quoting somebody, and that quote is attributed to somebody, and it needs to be relevant to the article in some way.
So that's actually mentioned in in this article. It does say hand waves about puffery, blah blah blah, and self-publication,
Anyway,
which is an actual Wikipedia thing you're not supposed to do. So this part I don't know anything about. He says, however, journalistic awards are also being referenced and removed. Do you know any reason why what that was about? Like maybe they just didn't have good citations or something? I don't know.
or no citations, or they're not
Um,
actually awards that's, in some cases. Now, Wikipedia is, the rules are not always clear. And that's why I think navigating through the whole idea of editing Wikipedia is difficult. It's not like there's a hard and fast rule on everything. Some editors will remove an award if the award or the person who's giving the award is not notable. In other words, Wikipedia notable. So, I mean, if you got an award for something that was given by some no name, nowhere organization that doesn't even have a website, that would probably be removed. If it was given by somebody who has maybe a Wikipedia link to their previous awards and they have a board and it's established and all that, well, that would stay. But we need citations of some sort. You're talking about Ross Coulthart, who's the Australian journalist that you're talking about, the awards and things too that they were upset about. And somebody came in and made edits to his Wikipedia page. He had legitimate awards, but as they were cleaning up the article, like moving things around and fixing things up, they were moving things around, and the awards section wasn't where it was before, so they thought it was missing. And it was cleaned up and added citations or removed some things. And people who are looking at Wikipedia and looking for something to get upset about, they said, they're not there. They moved the awards or they did this. It's like, look, it takes time to clean up an article, and you have to go in and somebody has to go in and clean it up. And then they have a discussion on the talk page. I mean, sometimes days can go by. So I don't know what they're talking about, but I know that they are not talking logic and Wikipedia. No, these people don't have any, they don't,
yeah,
they're Dunning-Krugers. I
well,
mean, my gosh, they
we
don't know
talked
what we're talking
we
about.
talked earlier about
Oh,
generally believers in anything like this have a lower bar for what they accept as evidence. And one of the problems I see is they'll accept what their people in their group say as evidence,
oh
right?
yes, absolutely. They're very trusting
Much of what's in this article is not
of
new.
each other.
It's already been on X and on Reddit and whatever. And this stuff will be read by other people and they will believe it and repeat it elsewhere as if
Even
it's a
though you could
fact.
go and look, they could go and look. They could easily go and see. But no, they would rather just repeat it as a slight against their community. It's much easier to say, give it a thumbs up or whatever, than to actually go and look and see. The awards are still there. Nobody has removed their PhD. I mean, it's right there. But if you point it out, they just don't respond.
All right. So continuing with the problematic parts of this article, and I'm not even reading all the problematic parts. There are just so many. So it goes on to say that gaming the rules, meaning of Wikipedia, is their
You know,
stock in trade. I guess they mean GSoW's, which is why they defend themselves from criticism by stating that we just need to learn the rules and follow them. Like,
oh, wow, what a concept.
wow. Um,
Hey, if
so,
people
so,
drove on the streets like these people want us to drive, I mean, want us to follow the rules only
so,
apply when they're driving the car.
so the article then talks about an attempt made by Rome Vihiro. I guess that's an actual name, not an editor.
It was an editor who's been on me saying he didn't have all the involvement that he did. Just ignore anything that has to do with that. That was back in 2013. That's old news.
Okay, so it's repeated in this article saying that that Rome wrote, "My case study into Wikipedia governance shows that if you break their hidden rules, or even are suspected of breaking the hidden rules in the future," and then he has a, so are the rules hidden?
No, but yeah, even I sometimes have trouble finding out exactly how to
It's
do things,
complicated. It's
It
complicated,
is
but they're
complicated, and
not hidden. They're all
it's
published.
interpreted sometimes. So yeah, I could see, like I say, it is complicated to edit Wikipedia. It is not, some things are obvious, like you need a citation to prove something and so on. But other things are kind of like, how do
Yeah,
I handle that? But
complicated is not hidden, especially when they
no,
mean
no, no.
hidden intentionally, right?
Yeah, lots of people are much better able to find things than I am. And that's
Yes.
why I have a cabal. If I get confused about something, I say, "Hey, can somebody tell me where it is that I," and somebody pulls up the rule and we,
Yeah, and I often do that too.
Mhm.
It's good. It's a good group
I
to
don't need to know
help you out
everything.
understand the Wikipedia rules, right? All right, getting towards the end here. Anyone who faces a system in which the rules and laws overwhelmingly favor and are controlled by the very people one is protesting knows that this is a futile task. It's like, wow.
I don't
Again,
even
we're
know.
controlling and wrote the rules apparently. And again, it says the Guerrilla Skeptics, by controlling administrative privileges, get to call all the shots.
Really? Wow. I didn't know I had that kind
I
of
wish
power.
that were true.
Well, you know what? No, I don't want to do it. Hey, people out there, I can't even get my TV to work most of the time, right? I cannot get that remote to work. It's got too many buttons on it. So trust me, I am not the person who would be doing anything like this. I can't, can't even.
All right, so now we go back to the edit warring on Duncan GT's thing that got him banned. The
Okay.
GSOW then used this as an excuse, for his edit warring, to get the article edit protected.
Oh, that's interesting. They keep bringing that up. Yeah.
Meaning, and here's another error, that no one could improve it. It's like, no, that's not what edit protection means. It means if you don't know what you're doing, they're not going to let you edit it.
It's like taking the keys away from somebody who is impaired.
Yes.
So,
Right. So
you are not allowed to drive.
so
Here,
I'm going to
we're
read what
removing your
Wikipedia
keys.
says. It means I went to the page they're talking about, and
Uh-huh.
I clicked the button that's a little lock, and it tells you extended confirmation protection on this page, right? This allows edits only by editors with the extended confirmation user access level, granted automatically to registered users for at least 30 days and 500 edits. So
Okay. Yeah.
doesn't say it doesn't allow anybody to edit it. If you've been
Only
on it a month and you're just not starting it up so you can make edits that you feel like you should make right now because you have a bone to pick, right? And that
you have
you've
to have
edited
500
before,
edits under
500
your belt.
edits is not a lot. Anyone with those conditions can edit. So that does not mean that no one can edit the article. Sorry.
I know that. What a silly statement. So people watching this in the upper, there's a lot of things on Wikipedia that you have looked at on a Wikipedia page before, but you haven't really looked at it, like Sherlock Holmes would say. They're all around on the outskirts of the Wikipedia page are all kinds of things. And if you click on them, you're not going to blow up anything. Just click on them, it'll explain stuff. But there is a little lock on some Wikipedia pages like Scientology, Mormonism,
When I
Jesus
edit
Christ.
this interview, I'm going to put that up on the page.
Okay, so he'll have a visual for you.
Yeah.
So in the upper right-hand corner of the Wikipedia page, sometimes there is a lock. And it's a little like a padlock. Sometimes it's partly open, sometimes it's fully closed, and sometimes it doesn't even exist. There's like probably 15 or 20 different kinds of locks. And that is telling you if somebody has come along recently and been vandalizing the page, adding incorrect information, trolling, or whatever you want to call, sometimes there is a lock put on there, and sometimes it's a few days, sometimes it's a few weeks, sometimes it's permanent. It depends on the amount of vandalism that Wikipedia page gets. And if you click on the lock, as Rob said, it will tell you the ways that who can edit it. And there are some pages, like very contentious pages, like again, Mormonism, Scientology, Jesus Christ, and so on. Those pages have had extensive discussion with other editors. I mean, extensive discussions, and the page is as good as it's going to get. Homeopathy, and some of those really contentious pages, vaccinations. And you'll see, if you were to look at the talk page, that there's massive amounts of conversation. And they said, this is as good as it's going to get. We don't want anybody editing this page. If you find a grammar mistake or something, okay. But for the most part, nothing's getting added to it. The page is locked. We have determined through probably years of conversations that this is it. We're going to leave it here unless something else happens. Nothing's going to be changed. And that's very few pages. I mean, we could probably count a couple dozen pages that is true, that they're permanently locked.
Interesting. I've never come across that myself.
Well,
Sure.
like I said, go try Scientology or Mormonism. Those are most likely to have a serious lock. The beginning part of the Wikipedia page is that thing has probably had, thousands of words of discussion trying to make it just right to satisfy everybody that they can, to the best consensus they can possibly come up with. And nobody wants it changed, because even to tweak a word here or there is going to change the meaning of it. And so those pages are probably locked. But that's, it's rare. We don't lock pages. They don't like to lock pages. They usually only do it for 2 or 3 days because they want to keep it open for people to be able to edit. That's just the nature of being a Wikipedia editor and an admin. So if it's locked, it's because we got a troll coming through.
Right.
We don't want trolls. Do you guys really want trolls? I mean, come on. Really, the rules have to apply to everybody equally. So if you say, oh, I want to be able to go to George Knapp's page and make edits of whatever I want, and they shouldn't be able to keep me from editing that, even though I have no edit history. I have barely had an account, if they even have an account. They do not understand the rules. They're a single purpose editor, which is somebody who's there for a purpose, for this one purpose, and that's the only reason they're there. They're not there to create an encyclopedia to improve other people's and other topics. So why would you want them on the Wikipedia again? Because again, that's like giving keys to an impaired driver. It's exactly the same thing. Somebody who does not have the skills to be there has no business being there. So we got to lock them out until they finally move on to, something else. Maybe they get a puppy or something. They end up having, they spend all their time with the puppy. No, we don't want them there. Do you really? I mean, come on. Sorry, rant over.
All right. And
the rules have to apply evenly. All right.
We're down to the last line in
Oh my gosh, what is it?
Article. The summary line. So this is discussing what was just said in the previous sentence, which I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it's about the Duncan GT's attempted edit on George Knapp's bio. Wikipedia loses yet another editor, and the world is apparently protected another day from the horrors of woo.
Oh, well, okay. Bye.
Okay.
Don't let the door hit you on the way out. We can't allow somebody to go onto George Knapp's page and make unsubstantiated claims about him using somebody's website or opinion or whatever, because otherwise it can get really ugly. I mean, if we went in there and we said, he kicks his dog, he's an evil person. He abused me. He is, he steals apples from his neighbor's tree or whatever. We can't put that kind of stuff. And would you want the ability to be able to put that stuff?
Right. And by the
And
way, that's not just random statements you're making. That happens, right? We have seen edits like that.
all the time.
Right. Again, well, Thomas John, one of the famous people you write about, right? I see people go on there and say, he's use any disparaging word put in the lead because they've been taken advantage from him or feel they didn't get what they should have gotten or whatever. Those things get immediately reverted too. I mean, you
Soon as
can't
it's
put
noticed.
negative comments against a person
Right.
either because you just feel it's true. Right.
Absolutely. And people do that all the time to people that I would never even have lunch with. I mean, I wouldn't even give them a dog. That kind of thing. Yeah, absolutely. I've reverted lots of vandalism from pages of people I don't like. I mean, of course, because I'm here to create the best encyclopedia I possibly can, and that's what the whole team is doing.
And that's a very important statement, right? That is something that you're essentially signing up to when you become a Wikipedia editor, that
Right.
the work you're going to do is there to improve Wikipedia, not to promote your favorite person or your favorite point of view regarding whatever it is, UFOs, cryptids, or whatever like that.
If the world of paranormal has notable sources and citations that are proved by the consensus of science from people who have journalistic integrity, well, it's going to get there. It's on the page, but we still don't have anybody who's proved you can communicate with the dead or that people spontaneously combust, and that water has memory. When we get that evidence, if it ever happens, then it goes on the Wikipedia page, and I'll be the first person to do it because I will be so thrilled to be able to have some conversations with dead people.
Oh man, am I going to be the first to work on the page about the first known extraterrestrial civilization? That'll be fantastic.
Wouldn't that be exciting?
Amazing.
I mean, I can't even imagine how our lives would be different. Again, it wouldn't be put away. These people who are claiming to speak to the dead, they wouldn't be, talking to at a hotel room in Super 8 conference center somewhere in Peoria. Of course they would be the top of the news cycle. They would be the most powerful person in the world. But yet people's claims of evidence is just like, my brother told me this, or I heard this thing. That's not evidence. So until that happens, it's not on Wikipedia because that is not the consensus of science. And yeah, I have no problem with having a bias or having an interest in a certain area. I happen to have probably a very wide interest. I'm interested in a lot of things, but I'm not going to go and improve Wikipedia pages for football players and Shakespearean sonnets and anything like that. That doesn't interest me.
No offense to fans of Shakespearean sonnets out there. So yeah, all right. I just want to end by mentioning one article, and I'm going to put this link in the text version of this article. There was an article written by Robert Jones last week, I think it was March 13th.
Oh, yeah.
The Skeptic, named The Wikipedia Conspiracy That Wasn't, or Why Wikipedia Says Roswell Was a Balloon. So it goes into some of this, not from the first person experience we're talking about, but a little bit of it, because Robert Jones is also a Wikipedia editor, and he talks about why Wikipedia is the way it is. So I think that's a good article to point to
Yeah,
people.
I don't know him. I've seen him on Wikipedia, but he's not part of the team.
Yeah.
Not that I
think it's really an alias for Mick West, but I'm not going to go there.
like Mick West would be. Now that person is using extra U's so in his words, so he must be Mick West. I mean,
I didn't notice that.
There's only one British man out there.
It's a clue. Right.
There's only one, so maybe he's him. No. It was a good perspective of what's been going on with this drama on Wikipedia and the UFO community and so on. But it wasn't, I don't know. I didn't really want to hear about more stuff about Roswell, but okay, whatever. But
yeah, I guess he took one of the better known tales and the oldest one and
right,
like said why we know this isn't real and like stop saying it is UFO believers. And this is
yeah,
why Wikipedia doesn't say it's real. Yeah.
Well, Rob, when you said you wanted to interview me about this, I was a little like, come on, Rob. Like I said, let's just why give this more meat? And the other problem with doing this kind of talk is that it's constantly changing. every day there's a new accusation against us. Every, I mean, there's probably, I haven't been on Zitter for a long time, but for several days now, because it just became a time sink. Because
On what platform is that?
Zitter,
What is that?
it's Twitter X.
Is that the name?
I
I
heard
missed
Brian
that.
Dunning
I missed that.
use that word, and I think it's appropriate. Zitter. Well, it's an X,
Oh,
T-T-E-R,
I
Zitter.
like the fact that the equivalent of tweets on X are excretions.
I haven't heard that. That's good. But I mean, it is a time sink, and it becomes like you get people who come in there and they start making these really silly claims. Like you say, I mean, I know this stuff. I know who I am and I know this stuff. So whenever they make these claims, you're like, what? What? Where do you get that? And if you respond and you say, here's the evidence, or here's the da, 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 you try to explain it to them, they're like, you're a liar. You're a liar. It's really, really mean. And I've never seen anything so mean in my entire life as this Zitter world with the UFOs. I mean, my gosh, I have tangled with some of the wooiest people in the world, and we've always remained respectful. We've always been able to have a conversation, but these people
I'll
are
tell you why
just,
I believe this. Why I
scary.
believe this is. So people who believe in mediumship and you're disputing it, they just no, you're just wrong. But it's not a conspiracy, right? The people who believe firmly that there's UFOs visiting the aliens visiting their flying spacecraft, they believe the government is covering this up for a nefarious reason, and we're part of that, right? And that's keeping the truth from them. And I have to tell you, it's more than just the truth of that. I was at a local conference of believers, and from what I heard there, 50, 60 people talking about this. Somebody got up in tears, believing his family member died of cancer unnecessarily because the government has extraterrestrial technology to heal all things like that, but they can't admit it to us because then they'd have to admit there are aliens here. And they firmly believe this.
Mhm.
So it becomes personal and important
Yeah.
to them.
And it becomes their identity. You have to remember that this is a community these people are accepted in. And number one, community is ultimate. You know, these are our like-minded people. We trust them. We don't want to alienate ourselves from this community. They wouldn't be accepted. You know, a lot of them have made it's like the QAnon world where their family members don't even speak to them anymore. So this is their world. So if they were to question somebody or any kind of pushback on somebody else, then they could be ostracized.
All right, Susan, I think this is a good place to end it. Thank you so much
No,
for agreeing to
no,
do
I've got
this.
5 more hours of content. Come on, you guys. Oh, I could talk about this for days. But the
I
thing is Rob, is that it is evolving. I thought this would be over. This started in January. We're recording this in March 19th, 2024. It is still going on. I just,
Barry predicted this will be all over by October. I'm going to make him a big bet about that.
well, the thing is that it'll be something new. And
Yeah.
GSoW is constantly being accused of something, nothing I can do about it. You guys, we've always been accused for anything that has to deal with the rules. And if you want to join us, please reach out to me on Facebook Messenger, because we operate on Facebook. If you want to join a secret cabal, training is 4 months at least, maybe.
Nah, don't believe Susan on that.
It is,
I did
there's
it
a
in
lot
3
of
weeks.
training
Three
going
weeks.
on.
3 weeks.
People can do it in 3 weeks. Yes, absolutely. But you got to be a little more focused. But yeah, it's work. And then when you're done training, we're going to expect you to do some work. So I'm happy to have you join me. Send me a Facebook message. I
But
appreciate that.
to be clear about that,
Mhm.
well, actually, what I'm going to do is point people to my previous interview of you when you spoke at the conference 2 years ago. We did an interview in preparation for that, and we talked quite a bit about the GSoW training. So I will link to that. People, if
Right.
they're really interested, can look about all of that. Okay.
Yeah.
All
Please,
right.
please come and join us. We have a lot of Wikipedia work to do.
Okay. Thank you, Susan, and thank you, everybody, for watching.